St. John was one of the closest friends of Jesus. When he was writing about his faith, he used these words. He said, "This is something we have heard, something we have seen with our eyes, something we have looked at, something we have touched with our hands." Jesus gave sight to a man born blind by touching his eyes with mud. Jesus stretched out his hand to a leper and said to him, "Be clean," and he was healed immediately. There is a beautiful passage in the Bible when a woman, desperately sick, comes up to Jesus in a crowd. She's too frightened to talk to him, so she just reaches out and touches the edge of his cloak. And with that single touch, she is healed immediately. Now, this is not magic. It's faith that saves people and the power of Jesus Christ. But that faith is so often expressed in a word or a touch. And that power is very often communicated in really concrete ways. Christians believe that God took flesh and walked among us in Jesus Christ. And he continues to use visible signs to share his life with us. In the Christian tradition, these visible signs are called sacraments. The sacraments are at the heart of biblical faith. They are given to us by Jesus Christ himself. But they are not just signs, they have an effect. They give us a share in the grace of the Holy Spirit. A friend of mine used a lovely phrase. He used to say that the sacraments show us what God is doing, and they also do what God is showing us. They make it real. Just 3 examples. When we're baptized in water, we share in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. When we're confirmed, the bishop lays hands on us and gives us the fullness of the Holy Spirit. And if we go to the Sunday Eucharist, we meet Jesus Christ himself. And if we receive the food of Holy Communion, we're given the spiritual food that we need for our Christian lives. Jesus is not one of those friends who shares photos of himself on social media and never comes to visit. He stands at the doorway, he steps across the threshold, and he wraps us in his embrace. This is the sacraments. And it's not just the sacraments. Nearly everything we do as human beings involves signs and symbols. If you walk into any Christian church throughout the world at nearly any point in history, you nearly always find the same key symbols. It doesn't matter if it's Jerusalem in the 4th century, or Paris in the 12th century, or Lagos today in the 21st century. There will be a central space for the community to gather and pray, a pool of water where the baptisms take place, a stand or a pulpit where the Bible is read, a place for the priest who leads the service, and an altar in the centre, like a table, where the gifts of bread and wine are brought for the Sunday Eucharist. It's all about connection. These symbols are not a substitute for Christ. They help us to connect with him. They point to him, and they allow our communities to be shaped by him. We become part of a tradition that since the very beginning of the church has been meeting and praying and baptizing and reading the Bible and remembering the Last Supper together. Now, the writer G.K. Chesterton said, "Going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than standing in your garage makes you a car." We're saved by a living faith, and the sacraments and all the external symbols of Christianity are ineffective without faith. But if they are celebrated with faith, they deepen that faith and they bring it to fulfillment.